Hi, and thanks for joining me on a super special April edition of Two Guys and a Lot of Wine. I'm Bobby P, and I'm joined by some regular guests, a new guest, and a topic that I think is going to be a joy to everybody. Sandy, take it from there, please.
So our guest tonight is Josh. He actually won the guest spot on Two Guys and a Lot of Wine at the Norcom Cares Beer and Wine Tasting back in February. He is also my HR manager at Norcom Mortgage. So our theme tonight is actually going to be wines that will make your HR manager blush. Ooh. They all have very interesting names.
A little risque,
slightly inappropriate.
Yeah, grossly inappropriate.
Yes, which I like.
Trying to do.
I totally like that. I like
let's
that
just
a lot.
hope the flavor is not grossly inappropriate.
I would also like to add that at that event, we earned over $20,000 for our charity. And what Norcom Cares does is we raise money and then we donate to local charities. So it was a very successful event, and I appreciate you donating the spot, and that was one of our
It was a
bids.
spectacular event, and I loved all the wines, and I look forward to it every year from now on.
Yeah, that was a great event.
Very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to say one other thing, and I'm going to surprise Rocky there. Rocky Holland is going to be our new co-host on this show. So I want to thank Rocky for joining me. Jim will come down occasionally to make visits, but he's so busy in the wine industry up there in Boston that he said, Bob, you got to have Rocky join you for your regular co-host now. So Rocky, thank you for agreeing. And
very honored to
we're going to have a lot of fun.
Have my name on the credits.
And Sandy, of course, you will always be on the show or be welcome anytime you want.
Thank you very much.
So let's get right into the wine. I know we're all eager to taste our first one. Sandy, what can you tell us?
I don't feel right saying the name of this.
Do you want me to say so?
Yes, I'll let you
I've
say.
had something, so it's called Sweet Bitch.
What did you call me?
I called you a very sweet bitch. Wow. And I'm going to get, it's a Moscatel?
It's Moscato.
Moscato,
Yeah.
okay. And the ladies first. Though we're inappropriate, we'll still have some gentlemanly qualities with us. And I'll let Josh, you want to pass that down to Rocky and pour some?
I'll get you.
Sure. And what are we
Josh
looking
is
at
very
here?
excited to try the Moscato.
So this is a Rosé Moscato.
All right.
Retails under $10. You can find this at Total Wine.
You want
it is
more?
under
We got
One of
$10.
the places that we found it. Yeah, it's
Yep.
under $10.
Bobby?
Great, thank you.
So for people who like a nice sweet wine in the summer, this will
Just
probably be perfect
wafting
for their
up
palate.
right from the glass
Yeah.
there.
Well,
Yes,
I have
indeed.
to make a notice first. We don't know what this wine's going to taste like. Everybody's obviously feeling very confident because these are some big pours
Yeah.
for our first wine. This could be very bad, Josh, you know.
Well,
So-
we can. Do we have something we can dump this out?
We
in?
do. We will
I
use one of
really
these
went
cups here.
overboard
I
with
have
this.
more glasses.
I mean, I'm not a big Moscato fan myself, so it's.
So the
It's
aroma
such a
is
popular
interesting.
wine, though.
Yeah, it is. You know, it is popular.
I'm
You
gonna
see a
give
lot
it.
of
Yeah,
Moscato.
I'm not here to
doesn't smell
judge
like
before I
Moscato.
taste, but. Oof.
Oh, that is on a.
What would you say that smells like?
Gasoline?
This is what we do.
Well, you know what's interesting?
Well,
People will see this in the store.
does
This is
have
kind of
sort of
important
a-
because they'll see that. They might not know what a Moscato is, and they might think that's a rosé. And this tastes nothing like a rosé.
No.
This is almost like a licorice type, almost like a dessert wine almost. It's not heavy in the alcohol flavor, but I certainly think it's sweet, and some people like a sweet wine, which is probably why that Moscato's.
It's very popular, actually, from what they told me. So
And who makes Sweet Bitch? Rocky, what do you have on information for this wine? Anything
sorry?
on it? Who makes this? Is it a
We printed it out.
California? Is it?
So this
Oh,
is
Chile.
from. Oh well, this is from Chile.
Nothing particular.
You could hand me the bottle and I could look over it. I don't know anything about it. It's not something that I consume regularly. This is something that.
So, Josh, if
I probably should have prepped for
a
this.
coworker received this as a gift and it was on somebody's desk at the office, would that present a problem?
No, I think we'd be all right.
We'd be all right with
We'd
it.
be all right with it.
That'll
it
pass
doesn't
the
depend on
first
who the
test.
recipient is.
Depends on whether it was in public display or not, but
Sandy,
no,
can
I
you
think
hand
we'd
me
be all right.
the bottle there? I'm just kind of curious what the alcohol content is on it. When I drink this, it tastes like Kool-Aid to me. It's just.
So the notes
A
that
lot
I
of-
read actually said melon and strawberry.
12.5%.
And I don't know that I
So
get
that's-
either of that.
That's pretty standard. Yeah, this is from Chile. Chilean wines typically have a bit of an herbal characteristic to it. I don't get that at all.
One
with
note,
this.
though, there's not a lot of character here at all. But
So, I mean, it's refreshing. It's a great summer wine. If you like Moscato, I would probably recommend that over like Barefoot. I believe is the #1 selling wine
Yeah.
maybe in America, it's Barefoot Moscato, but the Barefoot label is the #1 label. That one is better. I've had
You think this
Barefoot.
is better than Barefoot?
Yeah, it is.
And,
I mean,
and for the price, it's at the same price point.
It's not knocking me out. Normally, when they're sweet, they overbalance it with the alcohol, and so it's like the alcohol
Yeah.
smacks you and the sweet smacks you. This is just like, to me, it's drinking Kool-Aid.
I will agree that this is certainly not offensive. I mean, obviously, if you love wine and you like the characteristics of different wine, you're going to hold your nose to a little bit. But at the same time, there's a place for something like this. At a picnic, if you have a lot of people at a house, you don't want to spend too much money on wine, but you need something that's going to be somewhat refreshing.
Yep.
I personally think this is just a little too sweet for refreshing for
Yep.
me. Maybe as an aperitif or beforehand. But at this temperature, which is still a little chilled, I'm not overly offended by it.
Right.
So
Yep.
I'm going to give the sweet bitch a kiss on its cheek. So one kiss on the cheek for the sweet bitch.
We're not doing thumbs up, thumbs down?
No, we're going to do something a little bit inappropriate. So we're going to do kisses.
Kisses, okay.
So that's just a cheek kiss.
Okay.
Now,
Just-
a kiss at work might get you in a little bit of
That
hot
would
water.
be
that's true. But if it's a cheek kiss, you can chalk it up to ethnicity. Like you're Italian, you always kiss somebody on the cheek.
Of
That
course,
doesn't work
yes. I think
That
they
might
actually
work.
kiss on the lips, so that might
I
still
still
get
think
you
we
a
might
little
be
bit.
having a conversation.
either. Okay.
All right, okay.
I'm not giving this a
one-
kiss at all.
Nothing for you.
No, even though I finished it.
Oh
That's
my
interesting.
God, you did.
I
Okay.
had a much
well,
smaller pour than the rest of you.
And once again, you said this is under $10,
Under
available
$10,
locally.
available locally. Yep, you can buy it online, you can buy it locally. But yeah, I do think if you're a Barefoot girl, then maybe try Sweet Bitch instead.
Are there different varietals of this?
There were others as well, yes,
And you went with Moscato, how come?
because I already had other reds.
That's a good reason. Okay.
Needed something else.
Rocky, do you need something to pour that out in?
I would love something to pour
Okay,
that out
there
in.
you go.
I also wanted something I knew you wouldn't.
I could chug it,
crazy
but I
for.
really don't want to.
So you want me to get
So
rid of
I'm
it?
just going to go ahead and leave that right there.
So our second one is a Pinot Noir, right?
It's a Pinot Noir. It's a very popular brand called Ménage à Trois. This is actually a newer one from their line called Luscious. It's a Pinot Noir, but typically Pinot Noirs are lighter. This is actually a
That is pretty
darker
dark. Yeah,
Pinot
it is.
Noir. And
So-
what does that mean if it's darker? It's blended.
So, yeah, it typically means that it's blended with other grapes. This is from California, so in California you can blend up to 25% other grapes and still call it Pinot Noir, still call it Cabernet, Merlot, whatever you want to call it, but it can be 25% something else. Did I give you too much, Josh? I'm
You
sorry.
absolutely did
Rocky's
not, Rocky.
He's not good at the
I
tasting
don't
pour.
know what the,
Yeah, that is
I don't
one
know
thing
what
I've
the
noticed that
appropriate
Rocky
amount
is.
of
doesn't
Ménage
mess
à Trois
around.
Luscious is, but
We appreciate it.
Those are the kind of pours that actually lead to the name of the bottle,
Yeah,
right? That's
so-
exactly.
So just a little geeky wine stuff here. So when you hold your hand behind a Pinot Noir, typically you should be able to like see your fingers straight through it. This one you kind of can, but there's probably something blended in here that's not Pinot Noir. It's hard to say what it is. I mean, maybe I can taste it. And a lot of times it's Syrah or Petit Syrah, they do. And that'll give it just a little bit more punch, a little bit more sweetness.
Was this a non-vintage?
There's no vintage on
Yeah,
it.
it's not
Probably, yeah.
Now, I know there's a lot of Pinot Noir snobs and people who like Pinot Noirs can be a little bit fussy sometimes.
Like me.
Well, yes, okay, yes. But you know what? I sort of like this in a way.
Do you?
I do. It's not complex. So sometimes there's a place for non-complex wines. Pinot Noirs, of course, should be a little bit more, daring, and you want to sort of explore the nuances and the flavor. But once again, what price point are we talking about here, Sandy?
This one was also $10 and
It
under?
was around 10.
Around
yeah,
10?
somewhere right at 10.
Yep.
And I know, Rocky,
Which-
as you know, a lot of people say, yo, you can't get a Pinot Noir for under $10. You just can't do it. But
It depends on what you're looking for. I mean, you can't get a Grand Cru Burgundy Pinot Noir for under $10, but you can get some decent Pinot. I would say the price point for decent Pinot Noir probably starts at around 12 or 13. That's just my opinion. But right around 10 for what I'm tasting out of this glass, it's not terrible. If somebody poured me a glass of it, I certainly wouldn't spit it out like I did that.
I wouldn't think it's Pinot Noir though. Like when I'm tasting and smelling this, I get hints of chocolate, and that is not something I would typically get in a Pinot Noir.
I don't get the luscious. You're right. This is the luscious, right? Mm-hmm. It's smooth. There's still a lingering burn
Yeah.
a little bit on the aftertaste.
Yeah.
But at the price point, I certainly, like I said, I have no problem with. If I got somebody serve that to me,
If I had to guess, this probably has had some oak chips soaked because of that chocolate thing that's going
And
on.
vanilla. There's some.
Yeah, there's some vanilla and chocolate. I mean, maybe they can afford to have brand new oak barrels at Menage a Trois because they're a big company, but typically a cheaper priced wine that has this much oak characteristic, which is the vanilla, is going to use oak chips. I don't know that for sure, so I can't say for sure, but my guess would be there's probably some Syrah, maybe some Petit Syrah in here.
So Josh, the next
A
question
little
is,
bit of a
if
blueberry thing.
somebody receives that a gift and it's at somebody's desk, a menage a trois, and Sandy busybody walks by and complains, is that going to be a problem?
Well, HR would have to confiscate the bottle and
That's true.
you know, take a
would have
look
to
at
confiscate.
you know.
May or may not have to
How-
give it back, that's true, yeah.
Yes.
We may not. We may not.
I'm going to give this one a Khrushchev kiss, one on each cheek. Yep. Two
One on
kisses,
each
one on
cheek.
each cheek.
Okay.
I shouldn't have used a Khrushchev
I'll give it
reference,
I'll
but
give it a cheek and a half. How about that one? Maybe like a cheek and then maybe somewhere less cheeky.
Forehead?
Like an elbow or I don't
Forehead?
know. Yeah, forehead.
You
What
kiss
is good?
elbows?
Cheek and a forehead.
it's-
I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. Dude, I don't know where I'm going with this, and I quite frankly I don't know why you invited me to be the other two guys because
We very rarely do a show that has sort of, I don't want to say gimmicky because that's not the right word, but have wines that have titles like this because we tend to take the wine a little seriously, obviously. But every once in a while we break down and have
and
some
this is a
fun.
family program.
And it is a family program. But
Great for the kids.
A lot of kids learning about wine.
the point is, wine has gotten to a point in this country where even wines like this are still relatively good compared to 20, 25 years ago.
And that's where the next two wines are going to take us.
Oh, we're going to go up?
Yes.
Are we working towards a lip kiss? Is that what we're working
I
So
think
are
so.
we
I
are we
think so.
going to evaluate like what types of berries and flavors that we're just going to move from one end to the next? It doesn't matter to me.
I actually want to go a little bit more into like the grape varietals and stuff like that people might be
Okay.
unfamiliar with Pinot
Fair
Noirs,
enough.
what separates them from a cab and so forth. So, yeah, we could talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Anything?
Somebody want to jump in?
I think it's blackberry. I think it's got some blueberry on it. Those are not typical Pinot Noir characteristics.
I get the black.
Typically, a Pinot Noir is straight cherry. You know, Bing cherry, high acid. You might get cranberry. You might get a little raspberry. I'm not really getting cranberry or raspberry on this. I'm getting some kind of a blueberry.
So you're saying that a lot of times Pinot Noirs will give you that little pucker. Then
Oh
sometimes,
yeah, Pinot
you
Noir is
expect
typically
that.
high acid. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna.
And I can't see the alcohol content from this. It's probably a little bit higher than the Moscato.
13.8.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that jumps
that's
up
high
quite
for
a
a
bit.
Pinot Noir. Yeah.
And that is high for Pinot Noir. Usually it's at the 12, right?
Which
11,
means
5,
it's
12.
that might be some Zinfandel blended in. I'm betting. I'm gonna detract my Syrah guess. I'm gonna say Zinfandel's probably been blended in with this. That makes sense based on the flavor. It's got a little bit of a woodsy kind of thing going on. So
Are you a red drinker
Brambly.
yourself, John? Do you like reds?
Both.
You
yeah,
are?
I enjoy both.
But honestly, where do you put that in some of your experience for red wine?
All right, I'm getting a. I agree with Rocky when he mentions something like a Zinfandel. It's a little watered down.
That's
And
good. Watered down. Yeah, I like that.
A little bit, and not being a sophisticated taster like all of you. The chocolate flavor started to kick in.
we're totally talking out
Yeah.
of our ass.
All right.
Don't-
Come on, so am I.
I think the chocolate
Good.
is something that does kick in.
no idea what I'm talking
If you're
about.
not eating anything, which we're not, even though there's a plate of cheese and hot sausage here, if you're not eating anything and the wine has to sit in your tongue for a while after you've taken a sip, I do get the chocolate, just a tad bit in the back palate.
But
I
it
do.
does. It almost tastes like something a little bit more that has been a little watered down with something else. Yep.
And the price point, once again, you said is about the same as the Moscato.
It's a little bit more, but it is roughly around $10.
And
That one's under
available-
10.
All available locally, both these so far.
Yep. Everything was
So
bought
they-
locally.
What he's talking about, that it's watered down, a lot of times the mass-produced wines, and Menage a Trois, I think it's one of the top 10, when they're mass-produced, they irrigate, they allow the berries to get really big. So some of the higher-end wines, they grow in areas that are really crappy. Like you wouldn't want to plant a garden there, but it's the vines struggle to grow, and so the grapes are smaller and more shriveled, but it's more concentrated, and so you're getting more flavor. With the mass-produced wines, they're bigger berries. There's more water content, so it's a more watered-down flavor. That
So
you
Josh,
get
your
to
point
it.
is valid. That's
And then
exactly-
they
that's correct.
spike it with something else, maybe Zinfandel, whatever it is. And that's how they sell it. And it's it's a good quality product. You can't for the price.
So as we continue to walk down the road of inappropriate AHR wines, I'm very happy with our first two selections. Maybe not everybody is, but I'm very happy with the first two selections.
I'm looking forward to the last
Yeah,
two.
me
A little
too.
more higher end,
Okay.
more obscure wines. So the next one is called If You See K.
Great title.
And if you say that a little slower, you'll
If you see K.
understand why it's inappropriate. But
Fortunately, we have
also-
no employees at Norcom Mortgage
That's right.
by the name of Kay. So,
Now that's
We
a
don't?
much darker wine.
I'm going to pour.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm a big
tasting pour.
over pourer. Yeah, you're good at the 1 ounce.
No complaints
I'm
here,
just kind of
though.
like,
Now I gotta say, If You See K is one of those wines where, yes, technically it could be considered appropriate, but at the same time, I sort of like the ingenuity of the name of the wine. So
Yes.
what's the history of this one? Great label actually on the front. I sort of like it.
So I don't know a lot about this maker, but the reason they named the wine If You See K is that they want you to go out and explore who Kay is, who she is, what she's about, and that's kind of what they want you to do with the wine as well. So
Is Kay a real person or what is
I
Kay?
don't believe so. I think she is a persona that they created.
Is this a California wine?
Yes.
See, they're crazy out there in California.
I
It
know
is.
they are.
If it's
But
not
they
the
know their
marijuana,
wine,
it's the
don't
wine.
they?
That's exactly what it is.
So this is a red blend. You're not going to get a single varietal, but also purchased locally. What was the price point on this one?
it was around $20.
Okay, so we're moving a little further.
And I
up.
can tell you right off the bat, and Josh, you might agree with this or not, this does not have the slightly watered down. This is a little definitely more
Right.
complex,
Yep.
much more complex going on here
Yep.
in this particular glass of wine.
This one is from Paso Robles, which is, some people say Paso Robles. Justin, very popular Cabernet is from Paso Robles. So I don't know anything about this one, but I'm guessing when I see a high alcohol content, I automatically go to Zinfandel. And the reason is because Zinfandel is a high alcohol wine, and a lot of blends out of this region have Zinfandel in them. The reason that Zinfandel is high alcohol is because when the clusters grow, they grow, some of them don't ripen at the same time. So the only way that they can pick it is they can either hand pick the ones that are ready to go, or they can wait until the entire thing is ready and the green ones have finally ripened, but then the ones that weren't green are overripe. And so the overripeness means more sugar, and then more sugar means more alcohol once it has fermented. So
What's the alcohol content on this?
this one is 14 and,
So we're moving up.
yeah, we're moving up. This one's pretty high alcohol, 14.1. So
We've never done an all Zinfandel show because of that reason, because the alcohol content was so high, just sort of might be a little overwhelming for.
oh, they get
Yeah.
upwards of 16%. Technically, 16% is considered dessert wine, and a lot of your Zinfandels are right up around 15-16%. So
Well, I know we talked a while back, and I picked up a very unique and kind of hard to get bottle. It's called Thule, Thule, from Jacob Wiesel Dog, actually. And supposedly they make the best Zinfandel in California. That's how highly rated it is.
yeah,
So I think we talked about this before, maybe in the future. I don't know if in the summertime, Zinfandel's a little too strong, but maybe we'll do an all Zinfandel show. When it
definitely
starts
that
getting
would be a
little bit more-
winter show. for sure,
We'll have to
yeah.
wait till September, October
Yeah.
again when it gets a
We
little
could do
chilly.
white Zinfandel. Do they still call it white Zinfandel? I
don't
think
think
they
so,
call it
no.
blush now, but every
They
now
do.
and then I see
That
Zinfandel.
name is so scary to people. They
I-
just
When I
stop.
worked in the restaurant industry, this was in the 90s. I just aged myself, and back then it was all white Zinfandel. White Zinfandel was so popular, and it's finally went away because it's as bad as it gets. In
Which
my
is a
opinion.
shame. It's,
Yeah. But I do like rosé. I like some of the stuff that's out there, but not the white Zinfandel rosé. So
All right, so this one I'm going to give 2 kisses on the cheek and a kiss on the forehead. So 2 cheek kisses and a forehead kiss. I was thinking of maybe giving it just a kiss on the lips, but because Sandy set me up for our
Can't
last
make me
one,
laugh.
I'm sorry, I know you have a little cough. Because
Sandy has a cough, so
you're setting me up
we
for
can
that
edit
last
that
one.
out. Don't worry.
So I'm actually going to save that possible lip kiss for the 2016 that we got coming up. And we also have a treat, maybe a treat for a little bottle that we opened up earlier, French Côte d'Or. So take it away, Sandy. What are we going with? Oh, look at this. I'm trying to get her to finish her wine. She's not even done yet.
Because I coughed.
Sandy's just getting over
I was a
a
little
slight
sick.
illness, and she was worried that she might
sick.
be coughing on the air. But
Also why I'm
I
bribing
assured
my
her,
HR
no, don't worry
manager."
about it at all. You won't cough, I promise. And so now
Stop
she's
it.
coughing. I'm making her laugh, which increases the cough, and I'm not doing that on purpose.
This
at all.
episode's going viral. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see that
I'm-
already.
I'm a horrible person. In case anyone ever point, she will tell you.
Make him stop.
Okay.
So the last one is Sexual Chocolate. It is also a red blend from California. Like-
Randy Watson. You know him from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama.
That's my mama. That's a
That's-
70s kickback right there.
That's for, I believe it was 1990, 1991.
That's My Mama now.
Coming to America. But yeah.
Oh, the original
that
show,
might be
That's My
right.
Mama, I think was from the 70s.
The
I
movie
believe.
Coming to America. Sexual Chocolate. Nobody? Anybody remember?
Well, I saw
No?
the movie
Good.
2 or 3 times, but I don't recall that reference. But
I'm going to stop talking again. So why don't
So
you take
that's-
over?
That's where they
Sandy?
actually came up with the name. It was two guys that decided they were just going to start their own business making wine. They blended some grapes together, eventually came up with one that really worked, and they were sitting around one night and decided to come up with a name. And as a joke, they were fans of Coming to America, so they said, let's call it Sexual Chocolate.
it's funny, when you name a wine Sexual Chocolate, I mean, you really set yourself up, I mean, for it to be very seductive, very rich and lush.
No, I
So-
was going to read it.
Yeah, actually, yeah, no, if you want to, because I know you still got some wine. in
it
there.
has the story on the bottle, which is really cool because most bottles are just like, you know, that you if it's French, you're spending 3 hours trying to figure out what it's all about. This bottle originated from a bootlegging operation my buddies and I had in college. We started making wine knowing it would be used for late night drinking, and the French are annoying. I mean, come on, right? It took some
Poor
time,
Sandy.
but we finally perfected our blend and came up with this full-bodied red that pairs well with Wednesday nights and pizza. We use grapes from all over California, so we recommend this be drank immediately and shared with the girls. When you want more, just call us at, well, okay, it's got his phone number.
He actually
I
put
mean,
his real phone number on the
You can-
label. And what's funny is, so he partnered with one other friend from school, and they decided once this took off to make another wine, except what happened was they had a falling out. So he didn't end up making the second wine with his partner. And the phone number was on this label, so people started calling and asking for, hey, if you have anything else, any other varietals, we'd love to purchase it for you. He left a message when he basically broke up with his business partner and said, oh, you've reached Broken Dreams. And what he decided to name his next wine, which was a white, I believe a Chardonnay, is Broken Dreams. Because somebody called and said, we need another case of Sexual Chocolate, and while you're at it, throw in a case of Broken Dreams as well, which he hadn't named yet. So that's a fun little fact about the
It
other
is,
wine.
and actually, this is pretty damn good. I
It
just
is.
first sip.
It's
Yeah.
very good.
I had this for the
It's
first
why
time.
we
at
saved it for
Vinted.
last.
They had this. We were with the corgis. We're gonna,
We were sitting outside at Vinted.
Yeah.
This was years ago. This was not a wine we would have picked on our own. And the owner knew us and knew our tastes and came out and said, I think you'll really enjoy this. And poured us a glass, and we've
Yeah.
enjoyed it a few times
This
since.
is. So Bobby, if you had to say what makes what sets this, because I'll just go ahead and say this is a lot more expensive. This is right around the $30.
It's under
range.
30, but-
under 30, 25
But still, at
to
that
30
price
range.
point, you're expecting a lot.
As
at that
compared
price point.
to the ones that are around the $10 range, what would you say separates this from those? Because people always want to know, like, what makes a good wine good and what makes a bad wine bad?
You know, I know in the past we've done blind tastings, and a lot of times blind tastings can be very revealing. But in this case, I think what you're going to find when you get to a wine, if you're going to use a price point as an example, which I still don't know what this costs. You said it was more expensive. It's the lushness. There's something about how it coats inside of your mouth, your
Yeah.
tongue. Compared to actually the third one I thought was similar, but this sort of takes it to the next level. It just, your mouth gets a different experience when you take a sip of wine like this. So your taste buds on your tongue, your jowls, and so forth, they're all sort of experiencing something at the same
It
time.
also coats the throat. So
It
if
coats the throat.
if you have a cough,
That's what I'm going to say. When you get to a more expensive wine and people say, what makes us, what are you talking about? It's what happens when you take that first sip. It lingers, there's an aftertaste. There's still more going on after the sip. A lot of cheaper wines, even if they taste good, they're gone pretty quickly.
Yeah.
They might taste good, but they're gone. This is still inside my mouth, still
Yep.
coating myself.
Yep.
That's what's so
Palate,
interesting about it.
aftertaste, yeah.
And this is a 14.5% alcohol, I believe, right? Just another
This
high.
is the highest one on the table.
But it
right?
doesn't taste that way to me.
Right.
But what I find interesting is that between these three wines, there are a lot of similarities, and including this one. But it's almost like it's more delicate. It's powerful. These are powerful. Those two were like boom. This one's powerful, but it's also delicate in that you're tasting it, but it kind of eases off up front, but then you're still tasting it on the back palate. You know, you can still, there's stuff developing afterwards.
You know, Rocky, that makes a very good point. It is a foreplay that leads to the final act.
Oh, yes, see? You,
So there you go. That's
I
how you
opened the
finish
door
it.
for you,
I'm
and
blushing
you
now.
went
Foreplay
right
that
through.
leads
Is
to
he
the
blushing
final
yet?
act.
He's
And
blushing.
it's
Okay,
certainly
good.
a fitting end.
Trying to- yeah.
There are remaining under 2 minutes, I believe, to the show because it goes by pretty fast. So
This has been,
I got to say, I was really surprised just how good all the wines were tonight.
we only got the wines because they had grossly inappropriate names, but a
That's
couple of them
actually
were.
not true. I knew the
were
last one
good.
would be amazing.
Yeah, the last one's good. Yeah,
And
but
also has a great
Once the camera shut off, we're probably going to continue drinking this one, which is people don't know. We occasionally might.
So Josh,
have
were
a little
you,
bit of the.
did
stuff
you enjoy
that's
most
left
of the
over.
wines yourself tonight?
I did.
Good.
I did.
Did
There
you
was-
appreciate the theme?
I certainly appreciate it.
Did you appreciate how much Bobby and I just don't ever shut up about wine, and it's just ridiculous.
No, I
is
think
gonna be.
I think it's great to hear your your opinions and obviously the experience you bring to it.
But we never want to lead people with our opinions because I always say if you don't like something and we're saying we like it, you say, Bob, Brock, this stuff stinks.
Yeah.
What do you think of
We
this?
we welcome opinions about things that are.
There's a richness to this that the If You CK didn't have. That kind of had it grabbed you going in, but it didn't last.
Didn't
Right.
do anything.
What
Right.
Bobby
Yep.
said. This stays with you. Yep.
So I just want to say I want to thank everybody for continuing watching the show after all the years. And I think Rocky and I have a great idea for our May show. Rocky, we have a few moments left if you want to give a quick sample of what we're thinking of for our May show.
Okay, so as some of you know, Sandy and I run the West Hartford Wine Club, and I threw an idea out there that there are a lot of happy hours in West Hartford, and what I would like to do is to discover which one has the best happy hour wine. And so we might have a pub crawl at some point to try and go around and do a little, surveying of the area, see what they've got, and then we'll pick maybe 5 or 6. And if they're available commercially, we're going to bring those wines on. Personally, I would like to do them blind so that we're not.
I agree.
And then we can say, okay, this one's the best, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or maybe just rank the top 2 and see who's got the best happy hour wine in West Hartford. So
I think it's a great concept,
Yeah.
and it's something we've never even toyed with doing before. And like I said, as long as a lot of the wines are available locally, that we can still bring on the show. And like I said, we've done the blind tasting before, and that's always a fun way to do a show. So once again, I want to thank Josh. Thank you for coming down, my man.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
It's great to be here.
I'm glad that we
Lot of
did
fun.
some inappropriate things that you can take back to work and talk about. And Sandy, always, once again, great concept. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Rocky, as always, you're the man.
thanks for having me.
You know
on
your
once
stuff,
again.
you know your
Yeah.
wine, and
He's your
I
wine.
make it all up
I
on the
look forward
spot.
to many more
It's-
wonderful episodes.
yes.
So once again, thanks for watching. This has been a great episode, and until next time, keep me, Sandy, Josh, Rocky in your wine.